Hey folks, I'm Mike. Do you hate ads? I hate ads. You know what I like? Patreon.com/Inkdependence. It keeps this blog ad-free. Hello folks, welcome to Inkdependence.com. Today we're taking a look at my favorite pens under $50. So, let's take a look at the criterion I'm using for this list right here. Has to be under $50. That means that if it costs $50, it is out of the list because that is not under $50. Secondly, legit retail prices in the USA, that's where I am. So that means like no gray market stuff, no like super duper cheap sales perhaps that would bring it under the limit, but otherwise it'd be over, that kind of thing. Thirdly, no knockoffs. So you're not going to see any Jin Haos, you're not going to see any PenBBSs, you're not going to see any Wing Sungs. No Bowers, none of that stuff on this list because I'm doing original IPs only. So, you know, pens that are sold by people that made the pen. And lastly, favorites. So this is my favorites under 50, not the best under 50. And this may be me being a little bit picky, but I'm not really sure what the best means. I mean, like, is it the best for writing in your journal and keeping in your Rotofrad and Taschenbuch glider all the time? Well, that's a different pen than the one that's like the one that you like to use for marathon writing sessions, etc., etc. So I'm going to tell you what my favorites are. You may have different favorites. Feel free to let me know nicely in the comments below, and yeah, it'll be fun conversation to talk about these under 50 pens. Okay, so let's start out with a vintage pen. I've only got one on this list because, man, vintage pen prices are everywhere. This is the Esterbrook J. I actually don't have a nib in this one because the nibs are mad easy to swap out, and I've got a bunch of them that go between pens. There's a little lever filling pen. It is vintage. It is fairly old. This one's a fairly old TWSBI J. You can also find the SJ, which is a slightly smaller version of this pen. And these go for, I mean, anywhere between like $20 and hundreds of bucks. So vintage pens, man, are a tough market for me to be in because I don't really know that much about vintage, honestly. Like here and there, I've got little bits of knowledge, but like as a whole, I don't know, man. But Esterbrook J's and SJ's are very nice pens. You can find them from a lot of places. My friend Jessie is a big seller of Esterbrook's. Look for her link below. Okay, so vintage out of the way. Next, let's look at things that are just over the lines. They don't quite make it. Firstly, the TWSBI 580. This is actually, this started out life as a TWSBI 540, but the TWSBI 540 had all kinds of problems. It was the first pen, I think, actually, that TWSBI made under their own label, and it just cracked and broke, and pretty much, I think every part of this pen, except for the nib, has probably been replaced. Yep, I think all of it. So, yeah, this is really a TWSBI 580, which is the current model. Those go for between $50 and $65, depending on a whole bunch of different factors, including they make aluminum ones, all kinds of stuff. And it's a perfectly nice pen. I like it a lot, but not under 50, so it doesn't really go in our group. Secondly, another TWSBI. This is the Vac Mini, which is a very nice pen. I really like this Vac Mini. This is the first time it's been uninked in literally since I got it from, I want to say, my friend Gentleman Joe Crace of the Gentleman Stationer, and it's a great pen, but also a bit over $50, $50 to $65 for the TWSBI Vac Mini or the TWSBI Mini, depending on, you know, features like colors and all kinds of stuff, and the prices just vary. And lastly, for this bit, the Platinum Procyon, which is a pen that I actually like quite a lot. It's got a very fine nib on this one, which isn't ideal all the time, but nonetheless, a very nice pen. It's got a good feel to it. It's got a good heft. It feels nice in your hand. But these go for about $53, give or take. So off the list. Okay, so we've got a vintage, and we've got stuff that we're not going to talk about so far. Let's look at the super cheap end of the spectrum. Firstly, you have the Pilot Varsity or V pen. This is a disposable fountain pen. I mean, technically you can, I think, pull this whole assembly out of the center. It doesn't come apart or anything, but when it runs low, you can pull this whole assembly out and you can clean it out in some way and refill it. I've never done it because I've never actually run one of these dry. Secondly, on this list is the Zebra Zensations. This one actually doesn't say Zensations, and I had to look around for a name for these. I found this one at a BJ's place, kind of like a Sam's or like a Costco or something. And this says fountain pen, and I really like this a lot. These are about $3 each, these guys. So pretty cheap. Just a little bit more expensive than that is this. This is the Platinum Preppy, which is my favorite of the super cheap ones. I ought to do a video just on these super cheap ones and we can take a closer look, but I like this one a lot better. If you're going to spend $4 on a fountain pen and only $4 on a fountain pen, make it a Preppy. I think that's definitely the way to go. These are definitely refillable. They come with cartridges. You can put a converter if you want into. They come in like 3 or 4 different nib sizes. The only problem with them is that this barrel is a little bit on the fragile side. So some people eyedropper these, and I have in the past, but you're living dangerously, man. All right, so that's the $3 or $4 range. So we got a little too expensive, a little old, a little on the way cheap side, because usually when people say best fountain pen under 50, they don't mean $3. So we'll set these guys to the side. Okay, so solid entry-level pens. These are ones that I would say are, just a darn good value. So here's the first one. I don't have it, actually. Audrey has it at work, I think. I don't have it here. I will put up a picture over here-ish. It is the Kaweco Perkeo. I really like the Perkeo. It's a full-size fountain pen. It'll take a converter, standard international cartridges, all that jazz. It only comes in like 2 nib sizes, which is a little bit of a problem. It comes in a fine and a medium, and they're both great. I've actually never heard of anybody saying they got a bad nib on a Kaweco Perkeo. If you did, let me know in the comments, because I'm curious. I have polled some online friends and forums and stuff, and they've all said, nope. Nobody's ever gotten one. A lot of people haven't gotten a Perkeo. They come in weird colors. They kind of look like a kid's pen, but whatever. I like them. I think they're a neat look, neat feel. So good color combinations. Check out my review. You can find that on my channel. So secondly, a pen that I do have. And the Perkeo goes for $16 to $17. So, I mean, look, it's, more than a Preppy, but that's not bad for a refillable fountain pen of like pretty decent quality. Next up is this guy. This is a polarizing pen for sure. This is the TWSBI Go. The TWSBI Go is a goofy looking pen. It comes in demonstrator styles. It's got this weird like spring-loaded piston thing at the back, but I really like this pen. I think it's nice. If you like that ugly chonk that this thing does, it's a darn good pen. So these go for about the same. These are about $19 or $20, depending on where you get them, but pretty solid little range there, and good nibs. I've never had a problem with one of these. All right. Lastly, in this just a solid entry-level pen level is this one. This is the Diplomat Magnum, and I've only just gotten it. I've seen these on on shelves and stuff for years at pen shows and whatnot. Diplomat makes some really good pens. I mean, they make the Diplomat Arrow, which y'all know I love, as well as lots of others, but the Magnum is their like $20 pen, and you can find this online for anywhere between $12 at like Pen Chalet right now. That's a sale. I don't know if it'll last depending on when you're looking at this video, up to about $20-$25. So between $12 and $25 for $12. This is an outstanding pen. Is it 3 times better than a Preppy? Yeah, all right, I'll say it is. I don't really care. I like it. It's got a triangular grip, sort of like it's a little bit triangular. It's got little sides. You can probably see it there on the section. It takes a converter or it takes a cartridge. I've got a cartridge in there right now. The nib on this is great. They don't really have a variety of nib sizes. That's a problem for these. And the cap is a little bit weird looking, if you ask me. But otherwise, this is a really good pen, man. All right. So we've done vintage stuff, too expensive, real cheap, and just solid darn pens. All right, let's look at things that are a little bit on the spendy side, and I've got 4 of them here. The first one is this. This is the Faber-Castell Loom. This is the piano white version, which is all chrome, and it's got this white glossy cap and this like shiny clip. I would say don't get the piano versions because, like you can see here, it's all scratched up. I just throw this in my pocket and stuff. I mean, it's not a super cheap pen, but at between $32 and $55, it's a big range on these, depending on finish and color and all that kind of stuff. It's got a lot of nibs that are available. Faber-Castell nibs are great. They use the same nib in all their pens, at least at the like regular Faber-Castell. Graf and Faber-Castells maybe are different, but at this level, all these nibs are the same. So if you get a bunch of different ones of these, if you get like Ondoros or Ambitions or I don't know, Emotions, all kinds of things, the nibs are swappable. They come in extra fine up to broad, which is a good range. This is a very comfortable pen in the hand. It's just long enough for me to use unposted. I like to post it. I think it's this sort of fat cap feels nice in the web of my hand, and these nibs are great. So check this guy out. The only caveat is that it's got a metal section. It is ribbed, and that makes it feel, and a little bit matte, which makes it feel not slippery to me. But if you hate a metal section, I don't know, maybe skip this one. All right, so Loom, oh goodness, at $32 to $55. Next, the Lamy All-Star. Y'all knew there had to be some Lamy in this list. We haven't had any Lamy yet, so All-Star. This one comes in around $37 on the street. It comes in a ton of different nib sizes. It's made of aluminum, except for the section, which is a sort of translucent gray on this one. The only problems with this guy are that, the nib is not super inspiring. Honestly, I mean, it's fine, but it's not like inspiring. And you can get these like kind of scratched and dinged up if you just throw them in your pocket and stuff. This one has a scratch. However, I've had this pen for, I don't even know, man, probably 10 years. No, longer. Anyway, I've had it for a long time. So, very nice pen. Comes in a lot of different colors and styles, and about $37. Of course, you got to add converters to these in general. I mean, you can get the cartridges, but everybody wants the converters. That adds a few bucks, but still under 50, so good. Next, let's look at this one. I actually had to borrow this from my buddy David Figboot Parker because I didn't have a Pilot Prera. The Prera is a weird little pen in that it is much smaller than you might think, and it's got a nice snap cap. One of the most satisfying slip caps around. This one and the Arrow, the Diplomat Arrow, I think are like the best slip caps. Maybe there's a few others, but yeah, these are the ones that really, this is great. It's got a converter in here, takes Pilot cartridges, has a really nice nib. In fact, I was expecting to hate this nib, but I like it a lot, actually. So I ordered one. So I have my own coming. That's how much I liked borrowing this pen for the last like 4 days. And these come in a pretty large range of prices, $32 to $56, depending on the color and style. So the opaque ones, the solid colors, are cheaper. Those are about $32. These demonstrator versions are like 50-ish. So, there you go. Big range, but most of them are within our price range, so I'm letting it stay. Last one in the a little spendy category is this. This is the Caran d'Ache 849, and this sneaks in to our group here between $42 and $52, depending on where you look. I wasn't going to include it because when I bought them, they were all like $52. But I Googled and man, maybe Amazon, I don't know. Heck, Walmart, you can buy one of these for $42, which is kind of cool. And I think it came with a converter at that price. It doesn't make my top of the list, even though I really like this one because it is a very slim pen. It's got this big step before the section, but I do think it needs to be on the list because this is a cool pen. And look at that. It's just a very attractive little pen. All right. So these are the ones that have made the cut so far. Yeah, let's get these kind of out of the way a little bit. I can't really push them any further. I'm out of room. And let's talk about the ones that didn't make the cut. That's always a fun list, right? Firstly, the Pilot MR, or as we all call it, the Pilot Metropolitan. Technically, this pen is the MR. Metropolitan is one range of colors. The Pop is a color range. The animal prints, those are all ranges of the Pilot MR. This is an animal print when I forget, White Tiger or some nonsense. This is a pen that a lot of people will mention as a good first fountain pen. I'm not one of those. These are priced right now from like $13 to $20. I think I probably paid around, I don't know, $15 to $20 for most of the ones I've had. This is the only one I have left. And it is one that I'll pass along to people, like, Pilot MR, if I have one, I'll pass it along because it's a fine pen. I just think that in the $13 to $20 range, like, you spend a couple of bucks and you can do better. I mean, I think the TWSBI Go is better. I think the Diplomat Magnum is better. I don't love the section on this. It's a little small for me. I don't like this big step. You can see that step from the body, the barrel, down to the section. It's pretty massive. And I honestly haven't loved the nibs. That's why I was surprised that I like this nib so much, because this is the fine, and it's super fine and needly, but otherwise, I just haven't liked them that much. It's okay. It's got a good snap cap. Not a great one. It's kind of fine. Didn't make the list for me. Secondly, another one that everybody loves that I just can't, I don't know, I don't love it. This is the Kaweco Sport. The Kaweco Sport comes in a zillion different colors and materials and all this kind of stuff. The Sport and the Sport Ice are plastic bodies. You can, if you want to spend a bunch more, you can get them in aluminum. Those are like $80 though. So this one starts out around $12 to $27, depending on color and location and all that kind of thing. It does have a pretty good range of nib sizes, but those nibs tend to be a little dodgy. So I've gotten lucky, I guess. But yeah, I just don't love it. I mean, I've had this pen for a long time and it lived in my pocket for a long time and I got good nibs, but it's a weird shape. You can see this clear one is like yellowed with age. Like I've had it for a long time. It gets like, ink up in here and I can never really get it clean. I don't know. It just doesn't really make my list. The aluminum ones are way better, I think, but they're also like $80. So too much more. All right, so there's two popular ones down the tubes there. Next up, let's look here at the Lamy Safari. I looked at the All-Star earlier, and there's the Vista in between these two, which is clear plastic, and it has some metal in the cap to give it a little bit more weight when you post it. I put the All-Star on the list. I left the Safari off. The Safari goes for about $30, and for $7 more, you can get an All-Star. And I think like $7, this is $7 better to me. I like the weight. I like the feel of the metal better. Of course, I love this one. This is one called like Blaze or something, and it was a limited edition several years ago, and I think it's really cool. But yeah, for my money, I'm gonna go with the All-Star always. So it didn't really make my cut, but perfectly good pen. Next up, the Sheaffer VFM, and I have bought several of these for people to get them into the hobby, but since then, at the $14 to $18 price range, oh, and I've actually seen Safaris as low as $19 online. So if you Google around, you can find them very cheaply, but at $19, this is a no-brainer. Get it for $20, sure, no problem. But at $30, get an All-Star. Anyway, the VFM in this $14 to $18 range, I think it's got too much competition now. The Magnum is just straight up better. The TWSBI Go is just better. The Kaweco Perkeo, just better. In fact, I mean, this one, just better if you can get it for $19. This one better? I think the Metro is better too. So yeah, the VFM just isn't winning any awards for me. The body I think is actually too small to take a standard international converter. It like has this weird, I don't know, stop in there, which I don't know why they'd even do that, but it's got a good weight to it. I don't love the nib. It doesn't really make the list for me. Then last on the didn't make the cut list is the Platinum Plasir. The Plasir is a great pen, and I have probably 3 or 4 of them. But again, like the VFM, I don't think it makes the list. This is in the $14 to $20 range, and it's really kind of a fancy version of the Platinum Preppy. So nice things about the Plasir are these. It's got an aluminum body, which is cool, and it's very shiny. I think this is a little too blingy. It always looks like it's, I don't know, bedazzled or something to my eye. But you can get a bunch of nib sizes for it because you can just buy different Preppies and take the nib section out of them and just put them on the Plasir, and it's good. But yeah, I don't know. I think at this price range, you can do better. Okay, so that leaves us with only sort of the top one. That is my recommendation for my favorite pen under $50. And those of you who have been paying attention are like, oh, there's only one pen like that's really missing out of this list. And it's this one. And I have 3 of them because I like it a lot. This is the TWSBI Eco. And this one's actually an Eco T. But the TWSBI Eco, and this is the first one I bought, is a pen that I wasn't really expecting to like it all that much. I was like, I'll get it because I'll review it for the channel. I actually haven't reviewed it for the channel, but I really like this pen and I use it all the time. I've got 3 of them because they're great with various nib sizes and colors and all this kind of stuff. It is a piston fill pen, so you don't have to buy a converter. You don't have to use a fiddly little cartridge. It carries a lot of ink for you. The nibs have been uniformly good. I haven't had any problems. You barely ever hear of any kind of cracking or any of those problems with these pens. They just seem sturdy and great. This is a pen I just throw in my pocket or in a bag. Are there a couple of scuffs on it? Yeah, I got a couple of scuffs, but like, whatever. These things go for under $30 usually, like 27 to 30, 31 bucks, something like that, depending on the model and the colors and whether it's limited and where you get it and all that sort of thing. This is one of the newest ones, the transparent orange. I think it's gorgeous. Look at that ink sloshing back and forth. This is the Eco T, which has a bit of a triangular shape to the section. It's not very drastic. It's not nearly as drastic as the ones on the Lamys, just kind of there as a suggestion. And I think it's very, very comfortable. So, I think for under $50, if you're not going to get something super cheap, get yourself a TWSBI Eco. These are great pens, and I've got no real quibbles about these. If you hate the look of these, go for another one. If you have some other pen you think is definitely the top dog and I missed it, put it in the comments. Let me know nicely, and let's chat about it because these are just my favorites. So that is it. My voice is toast, and I will see y'all later. Please let me know in the comments and such if you like these sort of favorites list or top lists, that kind of thing. It's not something I've done before, so I'm just kind of messing around with the format, seeing what I can add to the conversation. But there you go. Find me on the social media. I am at Madison on Twitter. I am at Inkdependence on Instagram. I'm twitch.tv/InkDependenceMike if you want to watch me play video games sometime. And I am www.inkdependence.com Inky-D for my merch. Get that store merch. Oh, and I've got a blog, inkdependence.com. Y'all knew that already, though, right? All right, cool. I will see y'all later. Peace out.